Hello, dear viewers. I am a global nationalist. I support nationalism in my country, India, and in all countries around the globe. Today is the fourth Saturday of the month, and so, as per my schedule, I will be talking about a country outside of South Asia. Today, the country I will be discussing is the country of Brazil. I want to discuss about Brazil and its president, Jair Bolsonaro. This is because there are elections coming up in 2022, and so I want to discuss about the performance of Bolsonaro so far in his tenure and what I think might happen in the elections. So, starting out, we have to go back to the beginning when he was elected in October 2018. He was elected on a platform against the political establishment in Brazil to make it um, uh, less elitist, less socialist, more uh, capitalist, to do more connected to the people of Brazil, that to focus on everyday problems of people and to not promote socially liberal policies like LGBTQ and women's ideology, women's rights ideal feminism, and stuff like that. He was also against um, quotas for minorities and indigenous people. And this attracted the people of Brazil because it was a new message that they had not heard for many years, because the successive governments were socialist and left-leaning in nature. Now, uh, President Bolsonaro was elected as the leader of the Social Liberal Party. However, in 2019, I think in 2019 or maybe 2020, I don't remember the exact year, he switched to the newly formed Alliance Party in Brazil, which is because he believed that the Social Liberal Party now no longer represented him. And so, first off, I'll talk about the most important part of any politician's tenure, which is the economy. That Bolsonaro, at first, he reduced import tax rates on products that were not produced domestically in Brazil. This was to help the industries in Brazil. This was a pro-industry move. And he also raised the minimum wage, which is technically a socialist move, and which goes to show that he is not completely capitalist. He is still supporting the socialist programs that make up Brazil's economy. And the economy has started growing again since the even despite the pandemic, that during his first year there was a growth in the economy, but once COVID hit Brazil, the economy slowed down, and there was loss in the economy, and people suffered greatly. Now, however, due to cases going down and to vaccinations spreading amongst people, people are becoming more active, economic activity is picking up, and yeah, so there is an expectation that towards the end of this year and next year, the economy will grow. Now, energy, energy. Brazil somewhat different than most countries in the world because its energy mix is mostly made up of renewable energy. That is, at least 45% of its energy mix is of either solar or wind or any other form of renewable energy. Petroleum and oil products make up 34.3%. Now, was has the situation generally in Brazil. Now, let's see what Bolsonaro has done. He has increased the installation of wind and solar energy to the highest levels ever in Brazil. And he has also come out against taxation on solar energy. This goes to show that he does uh, want to promote policies that are economically and environmentally friendly. And so, generally, the portrayal of him in the global media and in the Brazilian media, at least the ones that I, as a foreigner, am exposed to, are wrong when they show him as being this monster against the environment, which he's not. He wants to protect the environment, to support environmentally friendly technology, but he also wants to develop the economy of the country. And so, to make it seem as if economic development is fundamentally against the environment is wrong, and actually, in a way, is saying that poor countries should remain poor, which is a bit actually very elitist and arrogant for foreigners to say. And infrastructure is another area where he has done a lot of work. One of the main objectives of his presidency was to execute more than 14,600 works that were promised by previous governments throughout the years, however, which were never finished, and some of which were never even started. An example of an infrastructure project that a new one that he has started is the publication of a tenant of an authorization is sorry. The Brazilian land transport regulator has authorized the publication of an a 14.8 billion reals or reals reais, which is equal to 12.8 billion US dollars and 20.8 Indian crore rupees, and this as an investment for concession of a highway called Dutra Highway. This is the largest highway concession in Brazil's history. This shows that he is very committed to infrastructure growth, which, in my opinion, is crucial to any country's development. Now, as far as I know, the economy and his domestic policy in general has mainly suffered due to his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. A bit of this is was out of his hands because, as we all know, China did not um, close its borders when the virus started spreading on it and when it was first identified. It ignored all that, and so this allowed the virus to spread, including to Brazil. And WHO also was delayed in saying that it had human to human transmission capability. And so this caused damage to not only Brazil but to all countries. So this is why the virus reached Brazil in the first place. So we should remember that China is the blame uh, primary country to blame for the pandemic, especially if they actually created COVID-19 in the lab, which the US intelligence agencies says is quite possible but have not yet confirmed. And however, once it reached Brazil, he did not handled the situation optimally. There were good things he did, but overall, I think it was a negative performance, at least in the beginning. For example, he would say he was a bit contradictory in his statements. He would say that, oh, it's just a flu, it's not a big problem, and anyone can handle it. And he was against lockdowns, he was against masks, which allowed the virus to spread because he felt that the economy wouldn't be able to handle lockdowns. And he felt that it was the media which was exaggerating the threat of the virus. Now, the fact is that what he said was true, that the virus is not dangerous to most people. However, that was would be have been true only if the healthcare system of the country in question was not overwhelmed and did not collapse. Now, the problem is that Brazil's healthcare system could not handle the influx of cases that it was receiving, and so many people who might not have died, and if the healthcare system could have helped treated them, did die, which is why Brazil has a high number of deaths from COVID in its country. And and while he was saying that COVID is not a big deal, he was also asking India to provide hydroxychloroquine to Brazil, which India did. And I'm proud as an Indian to say that we have helped the world and later helped the world by donating vaccines, including to Brazil. He famously compared India giving these medicines and vaccines to Hanuman, bringing the um, Sanjeevani uh, medicine to in Lakshman and Ram. So, yeah, it's basically it really should have been handled better. Like if he did not think it was such a big issue, then he should not have made so much hue and cry of getting other medicines and vaccines. He should have basically allowed the healthcare system to use its whatever resources it already had. However, he also the fact that he did seek out this help from foreign countries shows that he did actually believe that it was more dangerous than a regular illness, and so he should have been more clear with Brazilian people about that. However, I do acknowledge his argument that lockdowns of countries would hurt people economically. However, I do think that if not a national lockdown, he could have at least had at containment zones in his countries where cases were high to prevent them from spreading, which is one policy that was adopted in India. And so, and several state governments in Brazil did lock down, and this hurt the economy. And however, due to vaccines being more available now and Brazil having a high number of citizens vaccinated, the economy has opened up. Malls are opening up, shops are opening up, travel is increasing, and many economists expect the economy to grow in the near future. For his sake and for Brazil's sake, I hope it grows fast by the next year's election so that he can win because I think that he is the best choice for Brazil. Now, I know I'm in disagreement with the majority of Brazilians because, according to the latest polls that were released from July to August, the former President Lula is leading Bolsonaro, and so it's possible that I I do not have enough information that shows Lula in a positive light and Bolsonaro in a negative light. And I am biased to Bolsonaro because I myself am a right winger. So perhaps that bias is affecting my judgment, but I don't think so. I've been as objective as I can be. I'm definitely not paid by anybody. Yeah, Bolsonaro isn't sending cash to my account. None now. So yeah, that is my assessment of President Jair Bolsonaro. I believe he is a nationalist who loves his country, but I think that as a president, he has made some errors, and I think that he should work towards improving his governance and hope that he can win the elections. Thank you for watching. Vande Mataram.